Pick up all of your horror figures at Big Bad Toy Store at the link in the description.
Kaiju, Dragon Ball, Pokemon, and more. It's Steven's Toy Reviews.
Hello collectors, it's Steven here and I am bringing you another horror figure review from NECA. That's right, it is the Christmas month and we're gonna talk about a killer. Kinda, sorta, not really. Why is that? Well, today we are going to be taking a look at NECA's Ultimate Ghostface. We are not taking a look at a character from the movie Scream or Stab. Yep, that's right. NECA was able to get the licensing rights to Ghostface, which is apparently specifically for the costume and that marketing entity, and not one particular character from any movie, which is how they were able to do this release, which is actually pretty nifty. I think back to their King Kong that they released earlier this year, and that's how we got this figure. With that being said, upon release, there have been a couple of issues regarding quality control and some breakages. What am I talking about, and is it worth the gamble? Let's take a look to see whether or not Mr. Face here is worth adding into your collection. So admittedly, in the sculpt and paint department, there really is not much going on here for Ghostface until we get to the accessories, and that's really where the figure does shine. So I'm going to go ahead and preemptively give NECA 2 claps there. But when it comes to how the figure in and of itself looks, there's, what I will say is there are some folks who argue that this should be in the retro cloth line, but it is not retro cloth. What NECA did here is they just utilized soft goods, stretchy soft goods, it's actually made of an elastic material, for an ultimate figure. So not quite the same, because the retro stuff definitely has its own vibe, has its own feel, own articulation. It's meant to do its own thing, where Ultimates here, they do something different. So yeah, well, let's really definitely separate the two. Like the creep that they did, it's not a retro figure. It's technically not even an Ultimate, but I don't really know what else they could add. But yeah, I think you understand what I'm saying. Anyway, for Ghostface here, realistically speaking, for the actual body, which we'll be taking a look at in a second, there isn't a whole lot going on. So let's go ahead and take a look at his cloak, his robe, whatever you're going to call it. I'm going to call it a couple of different things throughout this video. Generally speaking, I'm going to have to say if you were to just take a quick look at this thing, it does look nice. Like I did say, it is made of an elastic, stretchy material, not necessarily like, let's say, a sock, but it is sort of smooth, and unfortunately, it does snag pretty well. This little thing here, unfortunately, was right out of the box. I didn't notice it until after my unboxing, which is a bit of a shame. The stitching on it, I would have to say, is hidden relatively well. It's not going to be on the front of the figure, and it's not going to be something you're going to be focusing on all the time. It's hidden mostly on the back of the figure, so hey, congratulations. Folks won't be staring at that on the shelf. Thankfully, aside from that one little, I don't know, I guess fray bit on the dangly bits for Ghostface, I haven't seen a whole lot of fraying on a couple of ones that I've seen around in different groups so far. Now, the cool thing here is that you're actually intended to take this off. At least that's what it seems. And once you do take his robe, his cloak off, you get a generic vanilla body, torso, and pelvis area anyway, underneath. Now, there is a note here that there is this little scratch mark, may be difficult to see. That is actually on all of them. So that's actually in the mold in and of itself. So I'm wondering if they're going to be reusing this body at some point in the future. Why? Don't know, but I don't know. I guess they're trying to save money wherever they can. Now, for the arms of Ghostface and the hands, I don't quite know where this may have been reused from. It's not from the Ultimate Ash from Ash vs. Evil Dead. It's not Ultimate Michael Myers, so I don't quite know where it came from. Also, legs and the boots, don't know. I mean, I've held this thing up side by side to a couple of the different horror figures that I have from NECA, not able to identify them. So if you do happen to know, please drop them in the comments down below. Paint here is extremely minimal. We have some paint on the boots, but otherwise, yeah, there's not a whole lot going on here. Didn't really touch on the mask because it's white. Not really anything to say. So generally speaking, the cloak for Ghostface looks good when it doesn't fray. All right, articulation for Mr. Face here. Pretty basic and straightforward. Don't worry, I will actually show you the joints and everything here in just a minute. So first, let's talk about the biggest point of articulation, the robe. It's stretchy, and this is very easy to remove. Thank goodness for that, because we got quality control issues. And for a point of reference for history for this review, almost right after a very prominent video came out about quality control for NECA. So, big time horror release finally comes out, and we have something that quality control wise isn't all that great. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So what do we have here for articulation? Well, the head is on a ball joint, and we get some fantastic range of movement here. Never mind the robe that sometimes likes to fall over. But yes, good range of movement. I mean, basically speaking, Ghostface can look in pretty much any direction you want, which is great. Couple that, we'll go ahead and just move down. We do have an ab crunch, which does feel stiff. That's not going to be the first time I'm going to say that. And yeah, so moving forward and back with that, not really the best, but it can spin fully around, rock from side to side. So you are, realistically speaking, for getting Ghostface to look in one direction, you're going to have to rely on the neck joint, which is going to be barbell style, double access ball joint. So just do keep that in mind. Shoulders are going to be the typical swivel hinge style you'll see on NECAs, which thankfully, because we do have stretchiness with the robe here, we're not going to have really any issues with any of the joints being hindered. So we can get a nice T-pose out of Ghostface here, not an issue there. Now, for the elbows, they're going to be the usual style of the new NECA Ultimate figures, where we are going to have 2 points of articulation for hinges. So we are going to be able to move his elbow just like that for a bend, which is good. And because they are going to be on pegs which plug into the bicep, we are going to get a little bit of a swivel there, along with a swivel where they plug into the forearm. Now, in my unboxing of this guy, which I did take off the robe, so if you've seen that, then you're about to see what he looks like, again, without the robe on. I was very afraid to move the elbow joint, and I still kind of am. If you are familiar at all with sort of soft plastic or plastic that gives resistance, or if you've ever torn or shredded plastic before, I can specifically think of the original 2017 Pennywise release where I did that. Every time I go to move the elbow joint, that's what it feels like. It feels like it's getting ready to just shred, just rip and tear until it is done. So this figure really does stress me out. At the time of recording this, I have seen 4 broken ghost faces, along with a couple of other miscellaneous reports of broken joints. So it is something to keep in mind. I'm going to show you in a second what you can do to help with that. Ghostface does come with some extra hands. They are all going to be on swivel hinges. That's not a break. There's a reason why I do that. I just didn't have it inserted all the way. So yes, swivel and hinge forward and back like that. So other arm is going to be the same thing. Easy peasy. For the hips, well, we are going to have ball joints. So NECA has sort of switched over to ball joints, which are okay. I kind of like them. They're all right. They did them pretty well because they put a cut in there, so this way he can do full splits, which is good. We do have the thigh swivel, which they decided to keep, which is great. We do have a single hinge knee, which doesn't really bend all the way, but we do have a swivel there as well, which is okay. And then for the ankles, we do actually have them plug into the lower portion of the leg on a swivel, which is good. We do have hinges, so this way we can move the feet forward and back. And then we do have true blue ankle rockers to go along with that awesome split. So this way, if you wanted to get Ghostface in some, like, I don't know, Ultraman, Kamen Rider poses, if you're familiar with those, then hey, you can do that. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So, what does Ghostface look like underneath, and how can you prevent joint damage? Because I've been diddling around with other domestic figures, and it seems like NECA is the only company that I have to do this with. What do? Remove the hands. Fairly easy to do, and the reason why you have to do that is the robe at the wrists here at the end of the forearms, they're kind of closed off in a way where you can't really pull the robe. At least that's what it seems like for me. It makes it easier. So you just put the arms up. You can keep the head attached, not a big deal. And then all you do is pull. And that will reveal what is underneath, a blank body, and you can fully see what is sculpted and what is not sculpted, but you've already seen that in my unboxing, and the sculpt and paint section. So NECA could have easily added a joint here, but they did not. And c'est la vie. So overall, for articulation for Ghostface, pretty good. I mean, the ab crunch could have been a little better, but it is what it is. Now, you have the robe off. What do? Hot water, put it in a bowl, throw them in there. Mixing bowl, that's just kind of what I do. I will say this guy retains water. I put him back in the box after I thought he was dry, and his robe was soaking wet the next day. So just be careful there. Heat him up, and then you should be able to move his joints just fine and dandy. No issues there. And otherwise, once you get that going, yeah, Ghostface moves pretty well. Double hinge knees should have been a priority, though. Okie dokie, accessories time, and what all do we have? Well, we get 3 alternate head sculpts, 2 of which are going to have, well, the same head sculpts. They're just going to be repaint, and the last one is going to have texture to the mask. We are going to get 3 knives for Ghostface. One is going to be a reuse of Michael Myers 2018's Butcher Knife, which is, well, hey, pretty cool. We get a scythe. Cool. And we get extra hand parts and the voice changer. So let me sort of back up a little bit and go back to sculpt and paint. For the head sculpt of Ghostface, the back of the mask is just going to be bare. Not really much going on there. And that's going to transition over to the rest of the head sculpt. So let's take a look at them. First, taking a look at the unique head sculpt here, we have the zombie mask for Ghostface here, which apparently is from Scream 4 in some capacity. I don't know. I guess NECA did a zombie mask Ghostface. I don't know. You can actually get a zombie mask Ghostface mask in real life as well. But yeah, the texturing here does look pretty cool. Do note that the technical sculpt and the paint details do differ from the prototype and some other reviews that are out there. I'm not going to reference which specifically, but if you know, you know. But the actual details that we do have here on the final product do look very good. Then we do also have the bloody mask, which is the white normal Ghostface mask with blood. Yep, there we go. All right, the glow-in-the-dark mask, which is going to be a reference to Stab. What is Stab? The fictional movie in the Scream universe, which is based off of Scream. What's really cool here is that NECA really nailed the glow-in-the-dark effect. If you have a black light, which I do happen to have, and you charge this up, same camera settings, this is approximately 15 seconds after removing it from black light from 30 seconds. And then I waited 2 minutes, and here's another picture. Again, identical camera settings. This thing just knows how to glow. Seriously, I had the lights on in the room. When I took it away from the black light, it just still lit up. So yeah, this thing really does know how to glow. Now, for Ghostface here, he is going to come with a couple weapons, and I want to talk about those right now. So the scythe looks great. That's where I really want to focus in here, because this is a rather unique accessory. And what about the hands? Again, we'll talk about those in just a second. So the detailing on this, I think NECA did a really nice job. The actual blade, the hook, it looks nice and weathered, rusted, all of that good stuff. That is the exact thing that you want to see for a weapon that Ghostface is going to be using. Because, well, if he's not able to chop someone's head off, then he's definitely going to give them a nasty infection. And the actual handle looks like real wood too, which they've slowly gotten better at applying paint for that purpose. So kudos to you. Ghostface is going to come with 3 knives. They are all bloody, so if you like bloody weapons, congratulations. This is going to be it for you. Again, we do have a reuse of one of Michael Myers' weapons of choice, but the other 2, I don't know if these are repainted from anywhere, so if you do happen to know, please enlighten us all in the comments section down below. And then, of course, we do get the voice changer, which has very minimal paint apps here. Not a whole lot going on for it, but it does get the job done, and it fits in his left hand. Nice enough. Now, Ghostface does come with 2 extra hands. He's going to come with, aside from just one hand to hold the voice changer and a right hand to hold weapons, he's going to come with a left hand, so this way he can hold weapons as well. and another right hand that has a bigger hole in it. Now, by default, we get the small hole hand in the box attached to Ghostface, and then the extra hand is going to have the bigger hole. Now, you can't use pretty much any weapons with that smaller hole hand that comes by default with Ghostface. I don't know why this is included at all. To be honest, if this just went missing, nothing of value would be lost to this figure. They should have just put in a splayed hand. Don't know why they didn't. Don't know why they didn't put in a right hand so this way he could hold the voice changer, but whatever. It's NECA. Not always the best with what they put in for their releases. Anyway, overall for Ghostface, I think they did a rather stellar job with everything that comes in this package, except giving us a right hand that would be splayed so this way he could hold the voice changer there. That would have been awesome. Or if they could have included a phone as well, which I know technically then would kind of get us into the Scream aspect of things, but come on. We all know what kind of figure this is supposed to be. Oh, I also forgot one other accessory. His robe. Yeah, if you really want to, you can play dress up with other characters. It's pretty fun. Anyway, let's go ahead on over to a size comparison where you can see here that Ghostface really isn't that much bigger than the other horror NECA figures in your collection, at least for the Ultimates. So if you want to put him on your shelf, congratulations, you can go ahead and you can do that. So buy now, skip, or wait for a deal. Generally speaking here, Ghostface does look very good when his robe, his cloak, whatever, is not getting caught on anything and fraying. It is just fine enough. The accessories, while good, some head scratching here, questionable decisions, and unfortunately for the articulation, there are quality control issues, and when I initially recorded the articulation section, I believe I said there I saw 4 breaks. That was 1 day ago. Today, that has gone up to 6. Yes. So treat this figure carefully. What I would recommend, take the cloak off, give him a hot water bath, then put it back on, but do note, this guy retains water. Just putting it out there. So, yes, it's a good figure, but do note, this will have some flaws. Well, collectors, that brings us to the end of the video today, and I just wanted to take a second to thank you so much for watching. Now, you've heard a lot from me. I'd like to hear a little bit from you. Drop in the comments down below whether or not you liked it, you hated it, or maybe you were somewhere in between. I also want to take an extra second here for a nice, humongous thank you to all the patrons for SDR over the last month who have really helped the channel grow into what it can be today. So to all of you, 2 big thumbs up. Thank you very much. And now the end card should be popping up, which will give you a few clickable links, like maybe to subscribe or head on over to my Patreon, or some short URLs like to my social media or to my Teespring store. There's also a video I hand selected for you, so if you want to watch another STR video, I hand selected some good content for you to watch, so definitely check out that video. Thank you again so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.